Pastor George Borghardt, and this is another Higher Things video short. Don't try to make a name for yourself by pushing someone else down. That's the subject of today's Higher Things video short. We do it all the time. We push someone else down so that we can be pushed up. We level their reputation in order to make a name for ourselves. We attack them to deflect from ourselves. We draw their friends away from them so they'll be our friends. It's a type of coveting. It's a type of hate. It's an insecurity on our end. When I was younger, I used to sit outside, when I was a kid, I used to sit outside the front door waiting for my brother to show up late. And if he was just a few minutes late, I would look at my mother and I would say, "Mom, when I go out on dates, I will never be late, like my brother." Notice pushing him down and building myself up. We do this in the church. It's horrible. We do this as adults in similar ways, ratting people out in order to turn people our direction. All of it lacks the trust and the certainty that God cares for us enough to defend our reputation. It also lacks the understanding that God, in his mercy, gave our neighbor his reputation too. So we should believe that God's going to give us what he would have us have reputation-wise, and our neighbor's reputation is a gift too for them, and we should build their reputation up. What a wonderful world it would be if we were building everybody else's up without any concern for our own selves. I think it would work out just fine in the end. But the only thing that's going to save such people who push other people down is Christ, who's pushed down for us, whose reputation was destroyed. False accusations flung his way. They hated him. They crucified him. And in that crucifixion, in that death, God has raised all our reputations, raised us before the Father. Think about that. While our temptation in fallen world is to push others down, God in his goodness, giving his son for us, Jesus has raised our human nature and raised our reputation and raised our standing with the Father all the way to the very right hand of God. The way of pushing someone else down ends in the grave, where they can't go further down and you can't go further down. Well, you can go down to hell. The way of the gospel, the way of the forgiveness of sins, the way of your baptism and eternal life ends in you being lifted up to the very right hand of God with Christ, that where Christ is, there you are also. He, the Son of God, you, a son of God, he holy, you holy. And if he has made you holy, be aware that he has made your neighbor holy as well. A neighbor who he has bodied and blooded you together with. As surely as he rose from the dead for you, he rose for the dead for them too, freeing you from having to push someone else down to raise yourself up or knock someone else down to make a name for yourself. Your name was given to you at your baptism, and that's a name that can't be lost, and that's a name that can't get any higher. And your neighbor, well, their name can be lifted up by you for the sake of the one who died and rose again for them. Isn't that what you want them to do for you too? Is to lift you up? I'm Pastor George Borghardt, and this has been another Higher Things video short.